but things ain't been the same since the blues walked in our town. But you one in a million, 'cause you got that shotgun shine, shake my body, bone in the bad sound with a blue moon in your eyes, yeah. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun, got yourself a gun, got yourself a gun.
That's some good comms, chat. That's some good chat. Good comms, Isaac. We love to see that. I forgot to unmute my mic. But if you guys would, like to do the trivia, you can. It's how many different setups have I had? Yeah, that's all it is. It's how many different backgrounds have I had? All that stuff. But thank you, Isaac, for letting me know. Hi, PK. How are you? I need to talk about the Dragonhorn and its influence in the Battle of Fire so badly. Yeah, it's probably the biggest mystery about the Battle of Fire. I feel like the Battle of Fire is a pretty straightforward battle, given what we've kind of heard about it from the Winds of Winter sample chapters. Also, Matthew, thank you for telling me as well. I just didn't see yours while I saw Isaac's. Don't know why that is, but yep. Yeah, I think it's the one thing that could really shake up the battle. And I think specifically Dragonbinder and Moqorro are the very interesting parts for the Battle of Fire. It'll be interesting to see how they do. Carmelo, what did I do? Yes. Also, Sopranos, very good show. Very good show. I wasn't a fan of the ending, but I feel like that's how most people are. But yeah. Hi Dakota, how are you? How are you? Hi Maz, how are you? Does the poll take into account your bed? No. So, it does not take that into account. So messy bed, that phase, messy bed versus not messy bed, does not matter. That is the same phase. Yeah. So, let's talk Victarion. Really talking about the Battle of Fire to begin with, at the very least, because we do know that Victarion's going to show up to the Battle of Fire. And, if we go back to even, a Feast for Crows, why George decided to make Victarion, a POV character, a major character. I wouldn't say a major character, but a side character that is relevant, unlike some other side characters, like Quentin. Quentin hate 5 minutes into the stream. You knew it's coming. So the thing with, I think, Victarion is, if you're Daenerys right now, and if you're George and you're sitting back and you're going, how does Daenerys get to Westeros? He doesn't have a fleet. That's one of the big kind of parts about Dance with Dragons is, even if she's allowed to try and go home, if she takes these ships, she needs way more. And you especially think because she's going to get the Dothraki, more than likely, she's going to need a lot of ships. And so I think Victarion was invented for that part of it. Now, there is going to be other ships there. Of course, the Volantis, they're sending ships to the Battle of Fire, and Victarion will be probably having to battle them at some point during Winds of Winter. Now, they are going to arrive after Victarion. So, again, there is the Battle of Fire, but then there also is going to be almost another Battle of Marine. Kind of similar to the way the show did it. The show, in my opinion, kind of combined two different plot points for the Battle of Marine. They combined, like, Victarion showing up, like that aspect of it with, like, Theon and Asha. But then they also combined, like, this whole slavers, like, fleet coming over, and there being another battle, which I think Daenerys will probably be involved in. That's when she'll show up, again, when we see this next battle. And so Victarion is going to play a very influential role in actually getting Daenerys to Westeros. Now, the real big part of this is, what is Victarion's loyalties going to be? Like, Daenerys, we know, is probably not going to marry Victarion. And so how does Victarion react to that? He's come all the way across the world. He's lost a good amount of his ships. He's trying to get Daenerys because he believes he can take that from Euron. He believes almost that, like, he can take Daenerys. That it's not just like, oh, it's gonna be something where, I actually need to charm her and do these other things. It's like this is his reward almost that he feels like. And so it'll be interesting to see how he deals with that, especially because Victarion, his background and his beliefs do not really line up with Daenerys's at all. In a lot of ways, they're very different. They kind of have fiery personalities, I guess, but yeah, I would say that they are quite different. Also, Daenerys isn't completely dumb like Victarion, but what a dud game last night. Yeah, the Super Bowl was pretty bad. I just think every phase of it was bad. Like, I didn't care really. I wanted the Eagles to win because I don't like the Chiefs. I don't like the Eagles either, but it just wasn't competitive at all. A very boring game. I also was not a fan of the halftime show, to be honest, and I feel like this is a very controversial halftime show, just in terms of some people really like it, people really do not like it. I'm someone that doesn't really like it all that much. Just I don't really like Kendrick Lamar's music, but I don't really like rap all that much to begin with. So for me, it just was a halftime show that wasn't for me. But I know a lot of people liked it, so I'm glad other people liked it. Hi Ghost, how are you? Victarion will be eaten by a dragon. IDK probably not, but that would be funny to me. I could very easily see Victarion trying to take a dragon from Daenerys, and that's why he's killed. I think it could be somewhat similar, like motivation to a Quentin, like wanting a dragon if he cannot get Daenerys. And so that's something I think could be a really big catalyst to somebody else getting a dragon. I don't think that Victarion's going to get one, but I think his actions and some of the things that he does could prompt somebody else, like a young Griff getting a dragon, or if Euron gets a dragon. So that's something we'll have to talk about in this stream as well. Dakota playing Arc. I really hope, Dakota, you are playing modded, because Arc is basically a job. Especially if not like modded. I used to play Arc when I was younger in high school, and it didn't help with some of my bad habits when I was younger. But yeah. I think Victarion will overplay his hand and die for it. I agree. How are you, Ashley? And yes, we are talking about one of your faves. 0% chance Daenerys marries Victarion. Yeah, agreed. Hey, Jalen Hurts, I've been somebody that I wouldn't, here's the thing. I think that Jalen Hurts is good. I think that it's definitely helped that he has probably one of the most stacked rosters in the NFL, but I can't deny he played really well last night. He's been really good in both Super Bowls he's played, so yeah.
The Lannisters send their regards.
Thank you, Crab. Appreciate the super chat. Been digging the collabs. You know who you need to work with. Hey, all I'm saying is, I make it very clear that I'll work with a lot of people. I've said one of my big goals going into the year was I wanted to collab with new people, make it kind of more refreshing for me. And a lot of people haven't watched the collab video that came out Sunday, which is completely fine. But I enjoy doing that. It really helps me as somebody that has done this content for a couple years now. It helps to really, I would say, keep it fresh for me. But thank you, Crab. Hi, PK. How are you? Fair enough, Ashley. Fair enough. I'm not a sports fan. I was just there for the food and the commercials. Fair enough. Fair enough. I've been having some issues with like acid reflux, and I don't know what I necessarily got. I have to get a test, but like I've been having like, yeah, a bunch of things. So I wasn't really able to really eat a bunch of stuff, but yeah, we'll see. That's also the reason there wasn't a lot of editing done last week. I just was not feeling well at all last week, and so what do you think is going to happen in the Battle of Fire? So I believe that Daenerys' forces will win, just based upon everything we get from Winds of Winter sample chapters. Now, George could rewrite those, of course, change some things, but overall, it seems to make sense that our forces of Daenerys, the Freemen, are going to win. The Giscari, the Slaver forces, already they seem to be outmatched based off of the sample chapters. And so there's going to be something else probably it's going to be at play. Just based upon things are going too well. Maybe that's the point. George wants things to go too well so that the next battle, the battle with the Volantis fleet, that is the actual like one where it'll have major implications. But I mean, think about where we leave off in the sample chapters. Tyrion and the Second Sons, they're basically going to go against the Slavers. They're basically switching sides because things are going badly. Victarion and his forces have landed. They are destroying the slavers as well, to the point where they need the Second Sons to help stop the Greyjoy incursion. You've got Barristan and the Unsullied coming out of the gate. That seems to be going pretty well as they try to go for the... Is it trebuchets? Is that the correct term? Or is it I can't remember what the terminology is in the book. But everything seems to be going their way. You have the dragons, who are also seeming like they're playing a role, being drawn in by the blood. And so everything seems to be going right for the free men. Now, where this could go wrong is within Meereen itself. The Shave Pate or Skahaz could easily close the gates, and that would lead to a really interesting scenario where you would have to have Daenerys' forces retake Meereen. Now, when you think about the fact that we're also going to see another battle for Meereen somewhat soon after this battle, it's something where I've kind of thought about and I've gone, well, okay, you don't need all this battle, right? Because you got to introduce all these different characters. Like, if Barristan survives, which I think he will, Barristan has to meet Victarion. Victarion has to meet Tyrion and Barristan. So all these different characters have to meet, and we have to establish their dynamics before Daenerys gets back. And so, you still could do that, right? You could just have, switching of places, right? So now that the Freemen are now trying to siege again Meereen and take it back for Daenerys because of Skahaz betraying them, it would feel very Littlefinger Ned kind of esque. And you could have all these characters maybe working together or maybe not working together so well to try and retake the castle. I do think the point, though, the point of it, regardless of where you go with the end of the Battle of Fire, is that our forces of good, but they are the good guys here, they're not the slavers, are going to be probably on one side of things, and this is how they're going to meet, and we'll go from there depending on how things go. But we'll see. What are the chances of Moqorro meeting Davos? That really depends. I think there's a good chance, because when would Moqorro die? Like, that's the thing. I like, if Victarion betrays Daenerys, like, is Moqorro going to be part of that? And so I have a whole thing about Moqorro I want to talk about in this live stream as well, because I think Moqorro is very much using Victarion. I think Moqorro has probably seen things in the flames. I think that Moqorro, again, is going to be loyal to Daenerys, not Victarion. But I think that he may push Victarion to do things that will heavily benefit Daenerys. So I want to talk about that a little bit later on in the stream, after we kind of get done with Victarion's section of this. Ashley, I can say I don't really watch college sports anymore, but I used to really love Alabama. AJ McCarron was my guy, so I was a little before the Jalen Hurts days and all that, but fair enough. Yeah, so like, I don't know, like I'm it's weird because I've had acid reflux in the past. I used to have it a lot more when I was heavier. I would get it a lot, and so this is kind of weird, different though, is because I still do have like the symptoms of that, where like my stomach like kind of always feels like just not right. Like, it just feels either maybe like it's hungry or full or nervous and stuff like that. But then I also have like, which I've never had really before, is like I have like kind of pressure up here, or like tenderness up in my chest. So I don't know. I'm getting a test Friday, so we'll see. Hope Becky is around for more collabs. She gelled with you and JC. Well, yeah, I know we're going to be doing something on JC's channel. Maybe, I think we're recording either this weekend, or maybe we'll be doing something more towards March. But yeah, we hopefully, especially as the Night of the Seven Kingdoms gets closer, I think we definitely will. Does spicy drinks or does spicy foods or drinks with a lot of carbonation trigger it? I would say yeah. But again, like, I've had acid reflux in the past, and this feels similar to that, but it doesn't feel exactly the same. So I'm not sure on that. But yeah, I would say yes, that does seem to trigger it. Which is kind of, I've only been drinking water, and then almond milk, so I've kind of been sticking away from that. And then I've had to basically cut out spaghetti, like tomato sauce type spaghetti. I've been doing more like Alfredo or like lower fat sauce on spaghetti, but yeah. Is it crazy to think that Daenerys and her forces will arrive in Westeros halfway through winds, and the second dance ends in wins already? So PK, I think we've talked about this before, but I just don't see how that happens, right? Because you think about Daenerys, and you think about how many chapters she has to have with the Dothraki I'm expecting at least, you're gonna have your introduction chapter, which is usually what George does in his introduction chapters with Daenerys. They're very much catching us up and introducing us into, the next part of her arc, right? So if you think about Clash of Kings, her first chapter is a lot of ways it's kind of like a follow-up, a reminder of what occurs in book one, and then slowly starts to forward the plot into book two for her. I assume something similar is going to happen, right? Where we're recounting Daenerys, what occurred in the last chapter of Dance. And then, it's going to be her traveling with the Dothraki, meeting the cows and all that stuff. And so I think you'll see Daenerys at least have 4 or 5 chapters, I would expect at the very least, with the Dothraki. Then you got to have, again, her traveling back to Meereen. Now, she does have a dragon, right? If she's able to tame Drogon correctly and able to actually, I guess, dominate his will or whatever you want to say, and go back to Meereen, that could happen relatively quickly because traveling on dragon is very fast. But I don't know. I think she'll probably stay with her Khalasar. So you run into a situation in which you have 4 or 5 chapters with the Dothraki at the very least. You have another maybe chapter or 2 of her journeying back to Meereen. And then you have kind of that conclusion there. So I think that there's a lot for Daenerys to do. And I really sympathize with George on how he has to write the character because there's a lot that has to happen. And then you also got to think that even, after she liberates Meereen, she's done with Meereen, she's got to set in place a government, how that's going to work. She then has to maybe go to different places in Essos before she even gets to Dragonstone. Just a lot of stuff that she has to do. Um, what's your interpretation of Moqorro's dragon vision? Is he talking about 6 different dragons or 2 dragons? One that's old, true, bright. One that's young, false, and dark. I would say probably 2. I don't think he's talking about 6 different dragons, Ashley. That would be my interpretation, though. I haven't looked into that in a while, though. Maybe I'll do something on Moqorro's, like his, dragon stuff. The book is pretty big, so yeah. PK, if what you want to happen is going to happen, there's going to be a lot of Daenerys chapters. Like, she's going to have to be a major which I already think she will be, but I think even more so. Like, I'm talking like 20 chapters, I think, to kind of get to where you kind of want it to be. I think Barristan's skill trumps Victarion's brutishness. I agree. Dan, there are. Definitely on the Iron Islands, 100%. I'm just glad football season is over. Dakota, I'm still going to talk about football season. Football season never really ends. That's the thing, though. It never really ends. Hi, Cannibal. How are you? When are you going to collab with Ashley? Well, Ashley, she's not posting. I tell her to post so that we can watch her content on the stream, okay? And she doesn't post. I want to see a video about who poisoned the locusts, and she got to get to it. That's all I got to say. I think the Dragonhorn will make Euron control Rhaegal, and he will attack Viserion, which will be the first Dance of the Dragons, and Rhaegal flees by the end of battle. Okay. Interesting. The one thing I don't know how I feel about that is, like, Euron already is getting a lot of magic stuff going on, especially if he does summon Krakens. I don't know how I feel about him having, like, a dragon. But we'll see. That definitely could be something that happens. Dakota, it's what I gotta do. It's what I gotta do, because that dairy milk is worse for you when you have, like, digestive issues, I guess. I'm big Bessie milk kind of guy. Fair enough. I think that Daenerys' best part of her story is inherently the ending, and once she goes to or gets to Westeros and what the internal and external conflict she faces there. I agree. I'll be very interested to see, like, how Daenerys faces. I feel like the propaganda that's going to be set up kind of against her, based upon, I think people will like Youngriff more than her, just based upon the fact that he's going to be viewed as coming back to Westeros as more of a hero, right? He's going to be somebody reclaiming or bringing back the Targaryen dynasty after the terrible management by the Lannisters and Baratheons, and he's going to be somebody bringing over the Golden Company, whereas Daenerys, on the other hand, is going to be bringing over the Dothraki, Unsullied, dragons, like things that people will be very scared about, right? So I will be very interested to see how Daenerys deals with that, because she's kind of been this person that so many people have looked up to, that have praised her, right? You think about how she's freed slaves and things like that. That's not the reception she's going to get in Westeros. So I think that will be very interesting. See, Matthew, what I think is interesting is there's so many people trying to pull Daenerys in different directions, right? You think about Marwyn also maybe coming to her side as well. She's going to be getting so many different opinions, right? You have Victarion with the Drowned God, but he also is part of her lore now as well. You're going to have Marwyn, who they definitely are not big fans of her lore. So we'll kind of see. We'll see. But again, Marwyn's also very progressive. So, you can go back and forth on that as well. PK, that's some good insider information. See, for me, baseball season never starts because I don't like baseball that much. I used to when I was younger, but I'm just not a fan. Dan, I like that. I definitely like that idea. Raising giants from stone. There's been a lot of, I would say, focus on the crypts, and there has to be some reason, right? George wouldn't do that if they didn't have a bigger reason. I think something like that could definitely make sense. The high tower could definitely fall into the sea. I wouldn't mind that. Screw the maesters and the high towers. I wouldn't mind that. I'm an Xbox guy, Delroy. Now, I don't play video games as much as I used to. Like, I'll play it if, like, I have friends on or something, or maybe on the weekends, but not really, like, a gamer anymore. I used to be when I was younger. I would play Xbox all the time. Probably could have been spending my time a little bit better, but I guess I enjoyed myself a bit when I was younger, so I don't know. But, yeah. How does Daenerys continue the Targaryen line if she gets the throne? Is she barren in the book? See, yeah, I don't, crap. I don't think that she's barren. There isn't a lot of evidence to support that, just based upon the fact that it's not been tested, for one. Now, you could say, okay, Dario hasn't gotten her pregnant. His daughter hasn't gotten her pregnant, but like, it could be something like, say, for instance, Rhaenys and Visenya, they both only had one child, and it seemed if they were Aegons, if Maegor and Aenys were Aegons, it took a while for them to have kids. So it could just be a simple thing of the Targaryens struggle to have children, and so but I do think that Daenerys will not sit the throne by the end of the book, or books, I should say. I don't think the Targaryen dynasty will continue on. I think they are doomed to fail and to die, because I feel like it would not be satisfying if we had, the Targaryens, right up to Robert's Rebellion, they were on the throne, and then we revert back to the Targaryens by the end of the story being on the throne. It wouldn't feel like we've really changed anything. It feels like the cycle has just continued. And so I think that's not going to be how things end up. Ashley, don't feel bad. We need more content, Ashley. We gotta see how your theories are. I mean, I don't hate baseball, Dakota, but I just like, if it's on, I'll watch it. But like, it's been so long since I've watched baseball enough to know a good amount of the players that even like care. Like, I have no investment. Like, most of the players I don't even know. Like, I couldn't tell you the names of players. Last time I truly watched baseball, like a decent amount, was probably like the last time the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series. So if that tells you anything, like, it's been a while, but yeah. Ashley, you should definitely cover that theory. I think Dario or his Dar did that. That's a theory. Actually, you know what? I haven't heard that thought before. That she was actually miscarrying at the end of Dance. I haven't thought about that. Wait, hold on. That's interesting. I'm gonna add that to my video idea list because now that you mention it, that does make a lot of sense. I like that. I like that. Hold on. Am I on the right? Hold on, guys. When I hear good ideas for things for me to think about or make videos about, I like to write them down. Now, with that being said, I can't find my doc. Okay, I found my doc. So, okay. Let's just say pregs. Okay. Also, I really hate that Streamlabs, when you have a pull up, it covers the entire bottom of chat. So I can't see the most recent chat. But whatever. How's Frey will sit the Iron Throne? I had a Frey moment today. So I was leaving school, and a guy was like, it was one of those things where it's like I'm trying to like walk past because I'm trying to like go home, right? I'm just trying to go home. The end of the day for me, and you know he starts to make conversation, and I didn't realize he had like a name tag on or whatever, and he's talking about like going to church and stuff like that, and I'm like, just like yeah, I go to church, but like, I mean, I'm religious, but I'm not to the point where like I go like every Sunday and all that stuff. And like, so this conversation, I'm just like, okay, there's no point to this conversation. I already have a church that I go to and all this stuff. And so I'm trying to like, be nice, but like cut the conversation. You know, those conversations where it's like you're being nice, but you're trying to exit the conversation as quickly as possible. That type of situation. And, he was like alluding to, oh yeah, maybe, you could like, I don't even know, like if they have like a club or something. I don't know. And I caught myself before I said this, but I almost said mayhaps, and it made me chuckle inside a little bit. I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm being very Walder Frey like." But yeah, so that was something that happened today. Do you think Dario will come with Daenerys to Westeros in the show? PK, I don't think so. I think that Tyrion. I think the rationale for like Dario. Okay, Dario will not be in charge of Marine. Let's settle that fact. But I think the rationale that Tyrion gives to Daenerys actually makes a lot of sense. Like, you're going to Westeros now. This is the big league. You can't have people around you like Dario. Like you can't have like this concubine when you're needing to make marriage alliances and things like that. Dario is somebody that could maybe be a enforcer or something like that for whoever you leave behind. But I just think Dario is a very dangerous person. And Daenerys knows that. Daenerys knows she shouldn't trust Dario and all those type of things, but she just can't. She's still young and she's in love with him. I'd say it's more like a lust situation, but definitely there's some love there as well. And I think it makes the most sense for Dario to die, personally. Like, I think that, George, one of the things that would be tough is he has to wrap up some of these characters, like Hisdar, like the Green Greys, like all these characters that are going to stay in Essos. He has to wrap them up somehow. And I think Dario dying at some point of Winds of Winter makes the most sense to just kind of forward us into the next part of the plot. CPK, if she does that, which I think would be a really cool thing if she was to unite Essos, that would take a lot of time. A lot of time. Is Victarion killed by Daenerys' camp or Euron? I think she will be killed. Or I think Daenerys will kill Victarion. Yeah, Ashley. Like what you said. Like as soon as you like mentioned that, I was like, wow, that seems to make a lot of sense. I don't know why I never thought about that. Maybe it's because I'm a guy and I don't think about things like that. But yeah. Hi Vlad, how are you? Kreese is slowly turning into George. In what ways, Crab? In what ways? Vlad, thank you for stopping in, saying hello. Hopefully you get some sleep. Dario No Buns. I love that, like, basically Ashley started the movement of Dario No Buns. I agree, though. The first casting of Dario was way better than the second one. Way better. I agree. I think that Daenerys will burn Volantis. It makes sense, right? Because if you think about what's going to occur, right, we're probably going to see this fleet from Volantis be in battle. I think Daenerys comes back during, Volantis being in battle with the rest of our marine, people. And so that could make sense as to why she then burns Volantis in response. And this is something that's theorycraft even some more. What would push Daenerys to burn Volantis even more? People dying that she cares about. So maybe if Barristan does die in Winds of Winter, maybe it's he dies, because this is a Volantis fleet, or maybe it causes people like Dario to die. Those are things that could push Daenerys to do something that would be more emotionally triggered into, burning down Volantis or something like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think Melisandre and Moqorro will definitely meet each other. I think that I almost get the vibe that I think Moqorro may not view Melisandre in the best light, because Melisandre has not been, it seems like, interpreting these visions she's gotten, and her moves have not necessarily aligned with, I think, what a lot of the people that follow her lore believe in, like that Daenerys is, the actual person, whereas like she's been going for Stannis this whole time as Azor Ahai. I think that Moqorro and Mel, there might be some tension there. I personally think that Jon and Daenerys will not oppose each other. We don't have time for that. Victarion will have his 3 goons blow the horn. What will happen when it's blown? Isaac, think a great question. I think for me, Dragonbinder is the most difficult part of Victarion's arc to try and figure out. I think that if it's blown, I could very easily see one of the dragons like maybe going wild or going rogue. It doesn't go under the control of Victarion, but maybe it, starts becoming wild. And maybe it takes somebody else to tame it. Or maybe it goes to Euron. Either way, I don't see a good scenario for Victarion or for Daenerys if Dragonbinder is blown. So I think that the short-term answer is I think it would cause a lot of chaos. Maybe that's another reason, right? Maybe that Daenerys loses a dragon because of Dragonbinder during the battle with the Volantis fleet. Like, there's a lot of possibilities that could push Daenerys emotionally to do something like burning or sacking Volantis. I agree, Cannibal. I would like to see Barristan meet Fagon, but I definitely could see George killing him off a little earlier than that, even though I think it would be a missed opportunity. Has anyone... So there are numbers, like rough estimates. I don't remember them exactly, Maz. If you want to go back and watch probably my most recent video on the Battle of Fire, I give out like a pretty good like description of how many legions of forces are here, the estimated numbers. I do believe that the Flavors have more forces than the Freemen do, than Daenerys' forces do, but they're very much lacking quality. Like, you'll see, like, some of the forces for the Slavers are literally chained together. So, they're not great. I do think that, again, Jon is going to be coming, south with the forces of the north, more than likely, meeting up with a lot of our main characters. That makes the most sense to me, meeting up in the Riverlands around the Trident area. And then Daenerys comes over. She's a character with dragons. Jon has just seen what the others can do. It's kind of similar again to the show where it's like Daenerys is someone that Jon can see a lot of need in. They cannot defeat the others by themselves. They need help. And so I think that makes a lot of sense for them to meet each other. Daenerys is described as pretty beautiful. I could very easily see Jon like going for her, someone like that. I'm hoping Mel actually faces some sort of justice in the book. I agree. I hope that she gets kind of what she deserves. She's a character very similar to Bloodraven in terms of like she tries to view everything in a big picture in a vacuum, and that the only thing that matters is the end result and not how we get there. It's something very similar to Bloodraven. I think, hopefully we'll see a better conclusion there. See, Ashley, I don't know if Victarion's clever enough to trick someone like Hizdar. Now, could he force? Like, he could. Oh, you do say could make. So, yeah, I could very easily see Victarion forcing Hizdar to blow the horn. I could see that very easily happening. That would be very interesting. Maybe Daenerys finds that out, and that's what gets, Victarion killed. Very easily. I could see that happening. I think George could be going for a Lord of the Rings moment. The woman who did that, wait, hold on. The woman who did what no man could and slew a wraith by having Daenerys blow the horn that no living man could without dying. I like that. That would be cool. That'd be cool. Maybe that's what allows her to control her dragons better. Because Daenerys is the mother of dragons. She's the one in control of the dragons. So maybe her blowing dragon binder would help that control. Maybe. That's definitely possible. Crab. I don't think that she will, if you're alluding to the character I think you're alluding to, I don't think so. I think her Cersei's death will come at the hands of Jaime more than likely. Or Arya, possibly. Matthew, I don't know if I want to talk about Illyrio. I want to kind of keep it focused on Meereen and Illyrio, or not Illyrio, and Victarion, but what I'll say about Illyrio, I think Illyrio will be a key point of the reveal of young Griff being a Blackfire or a Targaryen. Whatever he tells Daenerys, I think that Daenerys will meet him in Pentos. It makes sense given the journey, all of that type of stuff, but I don't think he's going to fade in the background. No, I think either Daenerys will kill him or he'll get out of it somehow, by manipulating her. Given that Daenerys still views Illyrio as a friend, as an ally, Illyrio could maybe slip the net. Maybe he goes with young Griff as he's taking King's Landing. A lot of things could possibly happen for Illyrio. This is true. This is very true. Daenerys could blow the horn. It's very possible. And also, if you want to go a step further, Targaryens themselves are viewed as more than humans. Like they are almost like godly figures, right? So, you can even go further that she's not even a real like normal person. Victarion would clap Dario. That's all I got to say, Delroy. Wouldn't even be close. Do you think young Griff will have a coronation when he takes the throne? It just adds more to his legitimacy for when Daenerys does eventually come. Also, maybe Illyrio shows up and presents Blackfire. Yes, I could very easily see those things happening, Ghost. What I find interesting, Ghost, is given that we know Old Town will be under attack, will, young Griff try to do an old style, coronation, at Old Town, like Aegon the Conqueror, like Aenys did, like Maegor did. So I'll be very interesting to see, does that prompt him to then go maybe face Euron or go face someone else and try to kind of reclaim Old Town to be crowned there? That could be very interesting if that's the case, but I definitely think we'll see, I think the end of Winds of Winter will have, young Griff's coronation, Blackfire. If it shows up, if Illyrio has it, then yeah. I don't think young Griff survives, unfortunately. I don't think the Blackfire line will survive. I don't think the Targaryen line is going to survive unless it survives through Jon. But I don't know if Jon will ever have kids, so I think the Targaryen line is most likely going to end. Yeah, definitely could be Ghost. It could be almost a direct response to hearing Daenerys coming to Westeros, is that they hurry up and crown him instead. But I agree, PK. I think that Daenerys having all three dragons, being able to control them, makes the story less interesting, right? Because we've seen this before. We've seen what Aegon the Conqueror has done with dragon. I think it does make sense for at least one of the dragons to go to somebody else. Maybe that's not what George is going for. Maybe George wants it to be that way. Maybe he wants Daenerys to come over and just completely dominate the field because of the dragons. Do you think Dario is part of the betrayal prophecy? That's a tough one. Because right now, like, what could Dario do to actually betray Daenerys? Like, right now, he is a prisoner, could very easily die. I don't know. I'm gonna say no, just because I don't know what Dario at this point would be up to betray Daenerys, and I don't understand, and I don't know why Dario would betray her at this point, right? Like, I don't know. I would say no, but I could see it happening. I also believe I do like the theory that Jon um goes with Val as well by the end of it. Yes, I think Moqorro and Marwyn will 100% clash. Now, talk about Marwyn already. How does he even get to Daenerys? At what point does that even happen? I don't know when. I don't think that's a thing that's going to even occur until like Dream of Spring. So we may never see that actually. Gina Slint has powerful friends in the afterlife. I agree. But yeah, so kind of getting back to Victarion, I think that his inevitable like end of the story is going to be he dies. I think it's going to be because he does something rash, does something kind of stupid. He does his, lovable, very fun character to read, but does something stupid. Goes against Daenerys. Daenerys ends up killing him, more than likely. But Moqorro is the interesting part because I think almost said his name wrong. Well, I did say his name wrong, but I don't even know what came out of my mouth. But still, Moqorro, I think, is somebody that could be easily like playing Victarion. Using Victarion to give Daenerys a fleet. Using, Victarion to get this horn to be blown because maybe it has a good outcome for Daenerys or it has some sort of benefit to Daenerys. I think he is using easily Victarion to get to Daenerys, and then once he does that, Victarion's kind of disposable. And this would kind of match up with things we've seen with Melisandre. Melisandre is able Melisandre is willing to use people for her own ends, right? Mance Rayder is kind of a perfect example, right? Using somebody that she believes will benefit her, Stannis, whatever. And so I think Moqorro could be doing the exact same thing. Moqorro could be doing something that pushes Victarion to do something against Daenerys, but in the long term maybe benefits her. She doesn't realize that. I think Moqorro will be playing that kind of a game, right? And so for me personally, I think Moqorro will outlive Victarion and will also be somebody that is kind of a Melisandre-esque figure that will be probably in stark contrast with somebody like Marwyn when we do get to see him, or even Barristan. I mean, think about Moqorro just in general. Everything that he believes in, like his psychology, all that kind of goes against everybody else here. So I think that'll be interesting to see how Moqorro goes about it. How he goes about trying to get into Daenerys's good side. Ned and Ashara. Hey, we'll be talking about me and Ricky. We'll be talking about Ned and Ashara on, I think it's Saturday. Let me look at what time. Let me look what time for you. I know we'll be live Saturday. Let me look what time just so you guys know. So we are going to be live on the 15th. And for my time, Central Time, it's going to be about 1 p.m. So I hope you guys enjoy that. We're going to be talking theories. We're going to be talking about good theories, some bad theories. I don't even know. I don't even know what theories I'm going to be talking about necessarily because me and Ricky decided to bring up like a list of theories and we're going to just ask each other what we think about them. So we'll see. We'll see on those ones. But yeah. Jon won't be a boy forever. Fair. Hate Rhaegar so much, Dakota, but nah, the Ned and Ashar theory is just not possible. We're not going to get into that, but, I don't disagree with that. You and Ricky are going to talk about this. He's not a Frey supporter, so I can't trust his judgment. Fair enough. Also, thank you, Matthew, for stepping in. And, yeah, so Ricky, if you, for some reason, watch this stream all the way to the end, because we're almost at the end of the stream, just click off. So, guys, What theories do you think I should ask him? So I want to ask him Maester conspiracy theory, what he thinks about that. I want to ask him about Ned and Ashara, of course. No, I have to bring it up. I was gonna do Young Griff, Blackfire Targaryen, or Targaryen theory. I was gonna do, because it's relevant, I was gonna do the Dunk not being a knight theory. And then Oberyn poisoning Tywin. And the last one I think I'm gonna do is probably Euron hired faceless men to kill Balon. Those are probably the theories I was thinking about doing. What do you guys think? You guys want me to ask anything different? Or do you guys like those? Like those series? Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Here's the thing. I feel like there's gonna be overlap because I feel like he's gonna ask me about the Maester conspiracy one, but I don't know. I think Dunk will get knighted by Aegon when Aegon becomes king. Yeah, that could definitely be the possible. You guys like those? Okay. Well, let's answer the trivia question. So I asked this at the very beginning of the stream. How many different setups have I had since starting the, I should have screenshotted them just so I had proof, but I have had, let's count them. So the first one that I had back at the very beginning of this channel, it looked like kind of how this is, but it was just a wall behind me. It was in my room and there was nothing up. Quite literally, I didn't have any of my disc plates up yet, any of that stuff. Now, eventually I got those up, but that was my first setup. Second setup, which is Dakota's favorite, is the one I had looking at my bed. It had all these stuff in the background, kind of against the wall and stuff. That was my second one. My third one was when I was down here in the basement the first time, when I was more of an open setup down here. And then this is the fourth one. So this is my fourth setup. So only 5% of people got this right. So some of you guys answered 3. Are you really true fans? Maybe you guys should stop paying so much attention to the bed. But yeah. The blue wall, yes, Crab. That was the first one. That was the first one that was on the channel. Asking about the droid attack on the Wookiees, fair enough. Maester conspiracy isn't even a theory, it's just facts. Hey, I agree with that, but he's a man of Old Town. He kind of sus. Kind of sus. Guys, I won't lie. I'm very excited for when I start my Maester conspiracy theory, again. So I'm really excited for that. I've taken a lot more notes. It's gonna be a lot more detailed, a lot more stuff I didn't really talk about too much the first time I did it back 3 years ago. Now, I mean, it's more like 2.5 at this point, but I got it right unless you can see who voted. I don't know if I can actually see who voted, to be honest. So you might be okay. I guess I'll have to retract my whole $5 back, questioning my dedication. Hey. I appreciate your $5, but you didn't get the trivia question right, Crab. What are you doing? How will Stannis come to burn his daughter? Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Maesters didn't do it. It was the Children of the Force. Lies. They would never. The Children of the Force would never. No, they definitely would, but, But thank you guys all for joining the stream. I'll see you guys all in the next one. I hope you guys all enjoyed. And yeah, I'll see you guys live stream Saturday. Ricky's channel, 1 p.m. Central Time. If you're not Central Time, well, you got to do some math. And also, I got a couple videos up for you guys this week. And then also the reread tomorrow. Remember, we'll be on the second channel. If you want to watch the reread channel or the reread stuff, it's going to be on the second channel. There will not be a video posted on this channel. It'll be on the second channel. So, yeah.